Vance Ginn is with us. Again, the OMB chief economist under Donald Trump, Gary Kaltbaum, one of the best market reads I know in the world. Gary, what do you think Jerome Powell is signaling here? I always think that you're wise to short stocks right before he speaks because there's such a thing as the Powell put. But what do you make of this?
I think he telegraphed another rate hike in the next meeting or after that. But Neil, I can't begin to tell you how depressing it is that he seems to think strong economic growth equals inflation. It does not. What equals inflation is printing to $9 trillion like crazy and a government that is so out of control with their spending. That's the inflation part. That's what's got to get under control or else. And as far as I'm concerned, he can raise rates or not at this point. I've been telling you very simply, watch the 10-year yield. If it keeps going up bad, we just hit a 15-year high before backing up. And I have to tell you, underneath the surface, I'm just seeing so many things because of the cost of capital going up, whether it's the credit cards. By the way, the latest that just came out is people now, it is for the first time ever, people are now rolling over their debt instead of paying it off for the first time ever, doing that more. And it's just worrisome all across the board. And next coming up is massive amounts of debt coming due from the government that has to be redone at much higher rates, which means deficits are going to skyrocket and ends up feeding on itself.
Until we just started chatting, Gary, I was feeling pretty good about today. Vance, let me get your take on this back up in rates, because that too is inflationary if you think about it, especially when you've got mortgage rates now the highest they've been since 2001, and it continues to grow. Obviously, the Fed can address that by trying to hike rates some more. Not everyone seems to be buying, depending on the minute and the day, whether it just stops there. In other words, one more rate hike is hit. What do you think?
Yeah, Neil, I agree with quite a bit of what Gary was already saying. This is kind of a dire situation, and it's one that the Fed has put us in, really. They're the ones that contributed to all the inflation, Congress and the overspending, and the Biden administration's regulatory policy. It's just been one thing after another. And when you think about millennials and Gen Z, they're getting hit even harder because it's more difficult to get a mortgage. They may be renting forever. With rental prices also going up quickly, this is going to have a huge dampening effect on the overall economy and people's livelihoods. It's very tough in this situation to continue, and I think we've got to continue to look at the Fed's balance sheet. It's still really high, still over $8 trillion, more than twice what it was before the pandemic. And when you think about all the regulations and everything else on energy and other things, we've really got to make sure that we're not just looking at the core, which is important for inflation, but headline inflation as well, as oil and gas prices keep going up and everything else. So I think we have to keep thinking about higher interest rates in the economy and what that means for families across the country. And unfortunately, this is a situation that we're in because of government failures.
All right, we're going to watch things closely, gentlemen. I do appreciate that.